Folks, something's wrong. Something is very, very wrong with fate and Dainsleif. What do I mean? Well, following the most recent Archon quest, we learned as soon as the Heavenly Principles descended unto Teyvat, they refashioned Irminsul to serve as a hub for fate.
That tree was not planted by the Heavenly Principles. Irminsul existed before they ever arrived in Teyvat.
What?
There was a time when it belonged to Teyvat, to dragonkind. Its appearance and function then differed greatly from today. The ley lines flowed with an abundance of a familiar, primitive form of elemental energy. You may know it as the power of the Light Realm. The Heavenly Principles usurped and refashioned Irminsul, made it serve humanity, and used it to anchor the fate of the world.
Irminsul is the original tree of Teyvat. It is the means by which the Heavenly Principles maintains fate itself.
It was through Irminsul the fate of the worlds would be written by the Master of Fortuna. For instance, place a curse on a nation that it's going to be wiped out because they transgressed their authority, pen that shit in Irminsul.
People often say that wisdom isn't about what you know, but knowing what you can change. It is beyond question that the prophecy was carved into Irminsul long ago.
But the most recent quest did something interesting. It burned down Irminsul, and with it the computing power for fate, which means, in Nahida's own words, fate can flow more freely, as now Irminsul is gone.
With Irminsul burned, the flow of fate now carries many more possibilities. I will be watching carefully.
But if this is the case, and fate no longer rests in the hands of a body due to the tool being used to control fate now gone, then how is it Dainsleif once told us we were meant to defeat him, and as a result of defeating him, the threads of fates would be ours to reweave?
Step forth if you have understood the meaning of your journey. Defeat me, command me to step aside. Show me that you are worthier than I to rescue her. Then, the threads of all fate will be yours to reweave.
Now, what's especially baffling about this line from Dainsleif is it implies he's currently the one weaving fate, or at the very least involved in that process, when we know by Nervalet's account of things, it's the Heavenly Principles, without a shadow of a doubt, who does that, as according to his character story 5, quote, "One as great as he in this instance referring to Nervalet, should have no need for a constellation to shine over him. After all, fate is merely the manner in which the present ruler of this world plays with living beings. Now, given we further know, beyond a shadow of a doubt, the present ruler of Teyvat is still in fact the Heavenly Principles, that means they rule over fate presently, and as such, any threads of fate that have yet to be woven or need to be weaved are theirs to do so, and not Dainsleif. So what exactly did he mean? But before we even get to that, we need to ask ourselves if there are any threads of fate to weave following the destruction of Irminsul. Now, Nahida's statement simply says fate is free to flow in many more possibilities, but that doesn't really tell us much. Does that mean that fate as a concept is gone, or that fate is simply more open than it was before? I'm personally inclined to believe that neither is the case. I'm not sure anything is wrong with fate in the first place. I mean, it probably is, but I don't think the situation is as straightforward as Nahida makes it sound, nor do I think it's as straightforward as, oh well, Irminsul's gone, so now fate's gone, due to a couple of different reasons, starting with the fact that the Irminsul system had contingencies. Take the barrier that auto-activated around Sumeru when Irminsul was under attack. Given this defense was set up by the Heavenly Principles long ago,
The Heavenly Principles established a rule that when Irminsul is plunged into grave danger, a portion of power will be reserved to isolate Sumeru. That way, even if Sumeru is destroyed, the outside world at least has some time to catch its breath. The Heavenly Principles created almost everything that exists in Teyvat today. To them, preserving the existence of the world and its inhabitants takes priority over protecting Sumeru.
that means they foresaw a possibility in which Irminsul gets fried, Sumeru nuked, yet the world keeps turning, which to me indicates Irminsul was not the end-all be-all with regards to fate. Another thing I think gives credence to this idea is the Shade's nonchalant reaction to Nahida wanting to burn down Irminsul. They let her because they said something, "You're the keeper?" And the keepers did, what the fuck? Nigga, museum owners don't just let the fucking security guard just piss on the painting. What the fuck do you mean she's the keeper? She protects the tree, but you best believe that tree's ass belongs to the heavenly principles. You know, and unless the Shades were 100% certain that letting Nahida burn the tree wouldn't upset the heavenly principles in any way, shape, or form, they would not have given her the go-ahead, especially Renova. You know, she has a prior felonious history of committing backroom dealings with Archons that rightfully got her shunned. So, you know, do you really think the heavenly principles losing control over fate is something the Shades would just willy-nilly let happen? Now, their official reasoning was, oh, you know, Nahida, you're a great tree yourself, so who cares if we lose another great tree? Well, given Nahida is not what the heavenly principles uses to control fate, I'd imagine it's the heavenly principles who fucking cares. But again, that's assuming they've lost control of fate, which at the present I don't think they have. I simply refuse to believe there wasn't some sort of backup system put in place. If there was security, that means there was the thought that Irminsul could fail one day, so, you know, you put up the barriers, you let Sumeru burn to the ground, but then what? Aru wasn't made yet when the heavenly principles refashioned Irminsul. There had to have been a plan B known only to the progenitor god themselves and the Shades, which would explain why they just said, fuck it, burn down Irminsul, because that motherfucker, it's useless. The real shit's back up there in the fucking clouds. Now, it is worth pointing out there is precedence for this. You know, when the heavenly principles loses control of a mechanism by which they can rule the world, they adapt and seize another. Take, for instance, the fallout of the War of Funerary Flame with that bastard crackhead Dragon King, in which they had their functions ruined because cocaine, kids, so they could no longer suppress the sovereigns by themselves, so they made the Gnosis, which serve as symbols over their control over Teyvat's, quote, severely wounded in the Great War of Vengeance, the usurper had their functions ruined, and could no longer use their absolute authority to suppress the original order of this world. To continue to subdue and control the resentments and loathing of the world, the usurper and one who came after created the Gnosis together.
The heavenly principles have been silent for many years, but the Gnosis are symbols of their control over Teyvat and all the laws.
When they lose something, they adapt. They lost fate. There had to have been a system in place to adapt. This brings us back to Dainsleif. By what possible mechanism could defeating him allow the Traveler to control fate when Dain himself does not control fate? What if it's because he doesn't do it at the present, but wants to? What if he himself wants to defeat the heavenly principles, and he himself wants to reweave fate, but if only one person can do it, control fate, and, you know, enact their sole will over all reality, then that doesn't leave room in the picture for two people, hence a fight to determine the outcome. Now, I must admit, Dainsleif doesn't seem the type to harbor such grand ambitions like controlling fate, but therein lies the problem. By some mechanism, Dainsleif is, by his own admission, the key for us to controlling fate, and given the Traveler is destined to ascend to the throne of God, quote, the Keeper is fading away, the Creator is not yet come, but the world shall burn no more, for you shall ascend. That's the Traveler's destiny Dainsleif is somehow in the way of, so either he controls fate currently, which he doesn't, he wants to control fate in the future, which he doesn't, or he's lying. Why lie, you might be saying? I don't know, because he's a Conrian? Is that a good enough reason for it? Let's not forget, the second time we met this nigga, he started just sucking off Conria while conveniently failing to mention the genocide or persecution of an entire race of people, but, you know, ran to the fun fact that, oh, the gods leveled Conria, but, you know, look, for some reason, saving our sibling also requires defeating Dainsleif, because he apparently really wants to save her too, or maybe there's a slight possibility Dainsleif wants to stop us from controlling fate, so we have to fight him to, you know, claim our destiny. Why would he stop us from doing that? I don't know. You got me beat. Comments?